His latest request proves he's at the very end of his rope by Amy Moreno for truthfeednews.com. Robert Mueller is at the end of his rope. In a desperate effort to keep his sham Russia probe going, Mueller asks a federal judge to reject the right to a speedy trial against the 13 so-called election interfering Russians and asked for an indefinite delay to the trial. So in other words, it will never happen and he can keep this garbage in the news through the 2018 midterms. Well, I guess that's the plan, right? Clearly, Mueller has no case and this witch hunt should have ended eons ago. From the Daily Caller, Special Counsel Robert Mueller asked a federal judge Tuesday to reject the 4-decade-old speedy trial law in the case against 13 Russians and 3 Russian companies and has asked for an indefinite delay to the Russian collusion trial. It is the second time Mueller tried to delay the trial. Judge Dabney L. Friedrich, Trump appointee, rejected the earlier request without comment and ordered the case to go forward. One of the Russian companies, Concord Management and Consulting, entered the U.S., hired American lawyers, and demanded a speedy trial. The Speedy Trial Act is a 44-year-old law that dictates that a federal criminal case must begin within 70 days from the date of the indictment. The complexity of the case warrants excluding the speedy trial law and delaying the trial, Mueller argued in Tuesday's court filing. A district court can, on its own motion or at the request of a party, grant an excludable continuance if the ends of justice served by taking such action outweigh the best interests of the public and the defendant in a speedy trial, Mueller wrote. Okay, this case also warrants a continuance and exclusion of time to accommodate the voluminous discovery at issue and to allow sufficient time for the court to resolve certain outstanding procedural issues unique to discovery in this case, he continued. Former federal prosecutor and National Review contributing editor Andrew C. McCarthy told the DCNF it was too late for Mueller to claim that the complexity of the case warranted a delay. Speedy trials rights belong to the defendant, and if the defendant pushes for a trial within the 70 days, the government has little cause to complain, McCarthy said. If the case was too complex, the government had the option of holding off on seeking an indictment until it was ready to proceed to trial. When a prosecutor files an indictment, it is tantamount to saying, "We're ready to go." That's very interesting. Mueller originally filed the indictment against the Russians on February 16th, charging that they engaged in a multi-year conspiracy to interfere with the 2016 presidential election. Because none of the defendants were U.S. citizens, law experts said it appeared unlikely that the case would ever go to trial, and that's what Mueller was counting on. McCarthy called the indictment more theater than prosecution, which is absolutely correct here. On May 9th, Eric Dublier, partner with Reed Smith, a prestigious American law firm that represents Concord, entered a not guilty plea in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. He also repeated his client's interest for a speedy trial. Dublier has repeatedly notified the court he would insist on using discovery to review the evidence the special counsel had accumulated about their charge of Russian collusion. His use of discovery would compel Mueller to turn over the U.S. intelligence about Russian activities. In response, Mueller informed the court on May 16th his office was prepared to enter 2 terabytes of Russian social media into the record, thereby flooding the docket with a huge amount of evidence, all of it in Russian. The volume could fill 3,000 CD-ROM discs. It's inappropriate for a prosecutor to manufacture complexity and then contend that things are too complex, McCarthy told the DCNF. So in other words, you're handing us all this crap in Russian, that it's very complex, and he's looking to delay it, so it automatically forget about it. If a prosecutor is disclosing mountains of foreign language materials without an understanding or explanation of their relevance to the case, that is a delaying tactic and an attempt to chew up the defendant's resources. The tactic is apt to make the presiding judge very angry, he added. Dublier contended the voluminous evidence against the 13 Russians did not apply to Concord. That's a good one. That evidence doesn't apply to who he's suing. Friedrich has yet to rule on Mueller's request for a delay. You see, so they wanted to flood the judge with all this info that it wasn't even translated. And so now they said, this doesn't even apply to Concord. It has to do with the 13 Russian nationals, which have nothing to do with this case. So why are you flooding the court with this kind of information? What a crock. What a crock. Mueller, you're not going to get away with this. Lo and behold, you're not going to get away with this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.